Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing. In this project I'm creating on a 10 by 10 wood panel using a couple of different pages from Sean Petit's collage packs. I'm adhering these papers with Liquitex matte medium. It is my preferred matte medium as it's just really reliable. It's thin. It applies the papers really well and fairly evenly. It's kind of difficult to not get some wrinkles, but I do like it better than the alternatives. And here I am wrapping around the pages around the edges of the wood frame as well. I like to add that so that I get some texture and interest on the sides as well as the top. Here I'm just tearing up that collage paper. This is actually one of Sean Petit's pieces that she did, and then she printed it and provided it in a collage pack. I'm breaking it up just to use it as background. Most of it does not show up in the end. It just creates some interest underneath all of the paint. I am careful to apply paper to all of the surface because I did not gesso it. So you want to make sure that that surface is protected. Otherwise, the mediums will just kind of slide off of it because it is very flat and has no porous texture at all. And here I'm just applying some bits as well to the edges, as I mentioned before, where I didn't have enough overlapping. I added some pieces additionally. So there I'm just showing you what we've got going on there. In the end, it just creates a lot of beauty to the sides. And here are the paints that I'm using. Golden products primarily. Magenta, I believe that was an orange red, the yellow. I did pull out the Payne's Gray, and you'll see me here in a little bit. I do use it, but I ended up wiping it off. It was way too dark for what I was going for. But I'm going to start here with the yellow. Yellow is my favorite color, in case I haven't mentioned that in other videos. I'm pretty sure that I have. And please pardon my voice. I am still sick at the end of week 2 and still gravelly and got this cough. So just bear with me as I do this voiceover. I wanted to get this video out to you before the holidays. So there I've applied the yellow, and here I'm coming in with this orange red. I wanted the background to be really bright because I'm going to be using the Aspen Tree stencil, and I wanted the background peeking through to be really bright and sunny and cheerful. And I was able to achieve that, as you'll see here in the end. It turned out really beautiful. The aspen trees end up being black, but the color peeking through is very symbolic to me of kind of our journey, and so I really liked that. I had some trouble with my lights. My webcam light was on, and I actually ended up turning that off, and so it does change the color here, but in the end you'll see what the true colors are. I'm still working out the kinks for lighting as well as my equipment, as I've mentioned before. So I was just applying there some more of that yellow with my finger, and then I'm going to be using this stencil. I'm not sure who it's from. I'll have to look that up and put it in the video description, but I'm going to apply those dots with titanium white heavy body acrylic. Sorry. It looks like I'm going back, apologize, and putting some magenta on the page here. I love this color combination, and you can see with the pink, the magenta here, that you can see where it's catching on the edges of the paper and really showing the beauty of those overlapping lines. Really liked that. After this, I do come in with that stencil and apply some of those dots with some white, titanium white golden paint. So, and here I'm just added some water to make that a little bit more fluid. And also applying it to the edges, as again, I don't want, I want the edges to match the top and make it really a unified piece. And I was able to accomplish that. So that's what I'm doing there. Just making sure that I get each of those layers of color on the sides also. And just keep in mind that I am drying in between layers. I don't show dry time, but it is important to dry between layers. I didn't with the yellow and the orange red because they are color friends, and so they don't create a problem when they're mixed together. This is where I was coming in, and even though it looks brown, it actually was the Payne's gray, and I didn't like that. I didn't want the background to be dark. So there's me making some little silly moves with my hand saying, no way, no Payne's gray. So normally that's one of my go-to colors, but I didn't really like it for this piece. So, and I'm going to come in and bring in that dot stencil again. Oh, apparently not. So sorry, my brain is very foggy. This is premium, Decoart premium teal paint, and looks like I'm bringing that in. Oh, this was really quite lovely because when it mixed with the pink, because I did not dry between, it made a beautiful purple, and you'll be able to see that here, especially in the upper left-hand corner here. It just really was beautiful. And then there's some pink, and it created this kind of a bluish tint purple, which I ended up really liking. Sometimes with mixed media, well, a lot of times with mixed media, you get kind of happy accidents just as you play, because that is what mixed media is just really playful and free, and you kind of go with your gut at every turn, and sometimes it turns out and sometimes it doesn't. I do have about a dozen pieces that I'll be repurposing with a better design. I was not happy with them. So, but that's the beauty of it, is you can gesso over the surface and you can start over brand new. And here is just me applying that pink or that magenta paint also to the edges, as I mentioned before, making the top and the sides consistent. And then here's the titanium white, and that is the golden heavy body acrylic. It's one of my favorite whites because I can really count on it to use in a stencil because it's very thick, and it doesn't, the paint doesn't run under the stencil at all with it. So you'll just see me randomly applying that here and there around the piece, just kind of as I see fit, kind of framing it in some ways, adding it in several places so that the final piece will be cohesive and flow really well. The white didn't end up being as bright as I thought it would be, but in the end it turned out really quite perfect. It just looks so fun. And that was what I was going for. Again, I wanted that color peeking through the trees to be really bright and light and hopeful. And then this is a leaf stencil, kind of a geo leaves. I'll have to look that one up also, and we'll put that in the video description or put a link to where you can find that. I didn't use so much of this. I just really randomly applied the stencil. I wasn't really sure if I was going to like it or not. It turned out really, really pretty. A lot of this was not really the effect I had in mind, but I kind of just stuck with it. Which again is also an important part of doing mixed media art, is just letting yourself be free to see where the project is going. And oftentimes it turns out better than what you might have imagined. At least that's what I find to be true in my process. So, and here's where I think I decided that that was enough yellow. So you can see that it's very bright and vibrant on the blue, purplish teal, and the pink, but not so much on the right-hand side. But again, that was perfect. And here I'm coming in with this stencil with the magenta. And again, that's the golden heavy body magenta paint from Golden. And I apologize if I'm at all repetitive. I don't have the voice strength to do a voiceover on this again, so it is going to be what it is. So I'm just moving around the piece using that stencil in various places. I really am bringing it into all four corners, as you'll see here as I move through this. And the effect was really subtle. You couldn't really see the design other than on the white dots. You could see it a little bit on the color, but it was much more muted. But I liked the effect on the white dots. It really did the trick, so I was happy with that. And here I'm going to come to the lower left-hand corner and then to the upper right-hand corner as well. I really like the heavy body acrylics. They are a little bit pricier than some of the other acrylics, but they go a long way, and they're really consistent and reliable, so I like them. And they're very vibrant. And there's a close-up of it with the dots, and as you can see, it is quite pretty. And then the magic of drying, I did try that. That was my little magical move there. And then this is Decoart Premium Paint in Carbon Black, and this is the color I'll be using to stencil on my Aspen Trees. I did fuss a little bit with the alignment. I wanted to make sure that the trees were not crooked, or at least were not terribly crooked, because the stencil is bigger than the surface. So I did kind of fuss with that to get it lined up. And I do fast forward through this, as you don't really need to see me applying methodically over this whole area. It was a little bit time consuming. So there you can see me finishing up, making sure that there's no color showing through. And the effect of this was just absolutely amazing. I really, really liked it, and was definitely the look that I was going for. I'm actually was creating this piece for an auction that's happening. I'm putting together a basket, so I wanted to have something fresh and new to be able to put there. So this was my contribution, and I really enjoyed the process. My goal kind of in life and in doing videos and in sharing my story is to give hope to people who are in the midst of their journey. It can be very lonely and scary and tiring. So that's kind of my heart. And here I am going to go ahead and stencil out my words on this paper. This is another page from one of Sean Petit's collage packs. It's actually one of my favorites. It seems so simple because it's just like paper, but I just like the effect. In this piece, it didn't end up really showing really the kind of paper that I used, because I ended up putting it on cardstock, and then I ended up doing a glaze on it in the end, and so you can't really tell, but I know it's there, and that's kind of the beauty of the creating. And so there's my quote, "You sweet girl are brave." And then I'm fussing here a little bit with where I want those pieces to go on my page. I had kind of in mind that I wanted some butterflies on this, which is how I chose the color scheme, as you'll see here in a minute. And so I'm going to go ahead and apply those butterflies first, and then arrange my words accordingly. So I start first applying that butterfly. It's a sticker from the dollar store, which was really cool. I got actually several of them, the vinyl sheets, and really, really like them. So I think they're great for art journaling particularly. So I tried applying with just a regular fluid matte medium, but the stickers were not very flexible, as I wanted to wrap excuse me, I wanted to wrap the butterflies, the edges around the side of the piece. And so I did come in with some heavy body gel as well, because it has the ability to hold things in place in a more durable way. It's thicker, and it's just good for applying things that are either thicker or more three-dimensional, like wood bits or metal or chipboard and things like that. So you'll kind of see me fussing with that. I had to kind of press push and turn the canvas on its side, and to get all of that to adhere and wrap around the sides there. And that's the point where I decided I needed to bring in the heavy gel. I'm just rubbing it out with my finger because I don't want any globs of that glue to be on the surface. So that's what you see me doing there. And then here, I'm not sure why I chose the yellow cardstock. I think I had in mind that I might want that yellow to show, but in the end it didn't, because I did a raw umber glaze over all of the words while they were on this cardstock. And so you can't tell that I used yellow paper at all. But again, trial and error, and things kind of go the way they're supposed to go, in my opinion. And it was all good in the end. And that's just the Liquitex matte medium that I'm applying those words. And then again, heat setting that to make sure that it's nice and dry. And then I'm going to come in with my raw umber and my glazing medium. I apologize, that cut out more than I intended the picture of the glazing medium, but I'll put that in the description as well. And here's just applying the glaze. I don't actually wipe back anything because I think I really wanted the piece to kind of have that a little bit of grunge to it. Not too much. I didn't want to take down the vibrancy of the piece, but I did want it to look a little bit oldish. So if that makes any sense. And here I'm just going to cut each of those out individually and then prepare to put them on my piece. And they're going to kind of cross those butterflies and on down to the right hand corner of the page. And I think I did kind of change the order of the words. I think that I wanted it to say, "You sweet girl are brave," but I'm not sure. We'll see. Maybe I fix it here. I don't recall. And this is the yellow again. This is the golden acrylic paint, and coming in with the yellow, and then I dry that with the heat tool, and then come back in and just kind of on the edges of my finger, catching on the edges of the paper and just kind of skipping. I apply the yellow and the magenta to bring in some color and some brightness to those the words there. Really wanted it to look playful, and I definitely achieved that. The journey is dark enough and hard enough without everything being dark and dreary. So I really like how it brightened up the piece and made it hopeful. So, which was my goal. I really liked the way it turned out. I never quite know. A lot of times I struggle with my focal point and how to arrange that. So I really liked how this ended up turning out, and how the colors in these butterflies matched the background was just incredible. Again, I had it in my mind, but I wasn't like following it to the T. Like I was just kind of creating and using the colors that I love. And I really enjoy that it turned out the way that it did, and they really matched. And here I'm just applying those words. They are very three-dimensional because I'm applying them with the heavy gel. And so they do stick up off the page and create some dimension. And here I'm coming in and doing my shading, bringing in my charcoal pencil around my elements, around the words and around the butterflies. But after that, I decided that I wanted to grunge up the butterflies a little bit. And so I come in with a raw umber glaze over the whole piece, including the sides. And so I had to come back and do the shading again. But you'll see that I didn't cut that out so that you could kind of see the sequence of events here. But here's my first attempt at the shading. And I just wanted, I don't know, I have a thing, I guess, with the really bright white. And so I wanted to tone that down a little bit. And here is me coming in with that glaze. And again, applying it to the whole, the piece and on the sides as well. I apologize for my stumbling words since I'm tired and my throat hurts. So anyway, you'll see me here in a minute wipe back most of that. I really mainly wanted it to just have an overall kind of grungy feel in the background of those colored parts behind the trees and then on the butterfly wings. So, and here's me coming back in with the charcoal pencil again, doing my shading. And I didn't really know how it was going to turn out in terms of the butterfly. I've never used stickers before, but they really did pop up off of the surface. Surprisingly, again, it was kind of trial by error, or yeah, you know what I mean. But I liked how it turned out. They did look very three-dimensional and popping off the surface there. And I really liked that. I love the charcoal. And I forget to mention at the end that I do come in with Spectrafix. And in fact, all of my pieces where I do the charcoal outlining, I come back in and apply a layer of Spectrafix. It's a great product because it doesn't, it's very safe to use indoors and it's not very stinky. So that's nice. And with me being sick, I definitely don't need the fumes from breathing in that stuff. So I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you will, if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'd really appreciate it. It helps me be able to be more visible and seen and have my artwork and my tutorials seen. So I hope you have a great holiday and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.